Hi, good evening, Vanakkam. So we are in the session 7 of Queer LitFest Live 2020 and second session of the day, uh, titled Queer Comic Narratives. The session would be in English, and so for the speakers we have Aayushi Jagad, is a comedian from Pune who became a stand-up comedian after realizing it was only healthy way to get attention and not to be judged for it. She enjoys singing on the weekends and long walks on the road because beaches are too mainstream. Welcome
Correct.
to
Thank you.
welcome to the session, Aish. Yeah. So
Hi.
coming right here, and Navin, India's first openly gay comedian, Navin Noronha, was born and raised in suburban of Mumbai. He is a professional stand-up comic, podcaster, improv artist, writer, and actor. He is currently doing his stand-up solo show, The Good Child, has toured all across India with it. He has also toured Australia representing queer comedy for from Asia as a part of shows called Spice Night. So I welcome you both on behalf of QCC, and I guess that is the weakest invite you got, like saying give it up for the Navin Noronha and Ayushi and all that. So, anyways, welcome.
We're used to it now. After the past 6 months of Corona, like there's no real applause. So
Yeah.
people are like, "Welcome your next act," and we're like, "Please, please, somebody give me something." There's like at least use some emoji to say that we love you. The shit on you. So
Yeah.
So like viewers just give it in your way, like however it is.
No, it's give it up for this comic and then just that's about it. That's the whole. It's one clap.
slow clap.
Exactly.
The audacity of showing up. And doing
Yes.
All right. So we have less time and a lot of questions, so I'll directly jump into the questions there. So it's two people. Like, okay. So I'd like, when you talk about stand-up comic and it's hardly recorded or understood. So how do you journey through the translation? Like, I have seen Navin's performances and I have seen Ayushi's performances like online, few things. Like, these aren't like something you write from imaginary things and bring it on the stage. So especially Ayushi's that the date thing or Navin's good child, I could relate a lot with good child as a person. So how do you translate from life experiences to a comedy sketch? For me, if I have to translate some life experiences, I can very well write a sob story, a very sad poem, or whatever it is, but you chose to represent it as a comedy. So how do you do it? Like for Naveen, it's good child, and for Aishi, it's like medium good. So yeah, who wants to go first?
You want to take this first? You want to take this first?
we have the good overlapping in our show times.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Child, good, medium. That should be the
Yeah,
show name.
And Sriram recently announced his this thing, and it's called Medium something. So the three of us should do a show together. We say good, medium, and that's just work. But yeah, sorry. Do you want to go first?
Go for it.
So first of all, I would like to say Senthil is a bigger fan of Navin, and I'm offended by this. It's fine. I'm okay. I'm fine.
Twice he came live.
I'm fine. Okay, whatever is what I will say first. And second, I feel like it's not like writing good material takes a lot of time, skill, and a lot of dedication to the craft. Okay, so what I do in my stuff, it's a cop out, honestly. Several comedians will tell you, Navin included, that it's hacky. Like a lot of people. The point is, it's a cop out because it's honestly just the joke is coming from already what's happened. Like I'm not sitting and I'm not like thinking of like a premise that has a lot of creativity around it. I'm literally just taking a stimuli that has happened and the set is a response to it. So I feel like even the date stuff, the sketch that you mentioned, like it's literally a culmination of all of the things people have said to me. I'm like, oh hey, you know what, you're really pretty for like a fat person, or like, oh my god, you sleep around a lot, like someone sleeps with you, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry that they do, or like whatever. So it's just that's where it started. I feel like, because another thing is a lot of the material I have online is from 3 years ago. Like it's because when you release material, it takes you ages to kind of perfect it, record it, and etc. So my stand-up has evolved, I think, but no one's heard it because I haven't had the chance to like release after that. So it's for me, I feel like now I'm beginning to do that, where you kind of take a situation, and I feel like for me that's the best kind of writing. So I don't really think there is a lot of like mehnat in, like you say, translating. I don't think it's that. I think it's you take a situation and you kind of, it's a puzzle piece of like things that happen around that situation that you add into sentences, and you reveal slowly by slowly what is happening. Like it's funny if I say I got a dick pic, you know what I mean? But it's even funnier if I say, yeah, but I got it at 5 a.m. Who is doing this at 5 a.m.? And then it kind of like a story, a picture starts building. So I feel like when I do write something completely fictional, or like I've written the newer stuff that is completely fictional, that's a lot harder. What you are describing for me is a lot more cohesive because it's just taking a situation and reacting to it. So, yeah.
All right. So over to
No,
you,
I totally
Navin.
agree with Aayushi because, like, I also think that as comics we have like a mindset where something should happen to us. We don't really get sad. We just look for like, oh, this can be a great set. Like in the weirdest of ways. Like there are so many bits of my life. Like even the good child, the bit that I came out with when I spoke about my parents and how I spoke to them. That is the entire lifelong stories of like my experiences with my mom truncated in like 15 minutes of a set. So it takes a lot for us to like come to face value with like what our reality is. But the beauty of it is like sometimes it can have the most obscure results. Like the recent bit I put out about this ex-boyfriend of mine, we were in Dubai and we both broke the headboard while having sex. That actually happened. So I actually, like, after I broke the headboard in Dubai, like any gay person in Dubai would have shat their pants out of fear. But I was laughing for real. I was giggling for real in that moment over there as well. Because I'm like, this will be such a funny story because I broke a bed in a homophobic Islamic country after being gay and having butt sex bareback with a man. You know how many laws are broken right now? How much jail they could put me in right now? So that was the reality over there. But like, obviously, after half an hour, I have calmed down and I'm like, oh shit, I'm in real trouble. We have to fix this. We have to lie to the technician or something like that. But once I landed back in Mumbai, I'm like, I have to write this down. So the story overall happened over two different instances, but I put them together to make one bit. That's how I would translate it from my end.
Yeah.
All right. So, for whatever you have both have mentioned it takes quite some work, like a creative construct to put in to create a comedy sketch, like whether taking up a real life incident and making into a comedy sketch, or take an imaginary fictional thing, which is more harder, as Ayushi mentioned. So, like when you make it, like at some point you there is a possibility, like you think, or like at least as a designer I go through the nightmare is like I can't create something better or new better than this, or like I might run out of jokes, or okay okay, I can't use these jokes anymore. They have they have gone online, or people have listened it, or something like that. So how do you treat, how do you treat the creative block? I would define, let's say it's a creative block itself. How do you treat those kind of situations?
So for me personally,
Navin.
I just like I always envy musicians because they can have a great song and then when they go to a performance, everybody's like, "Hey, your hits," and they're like, "Yeah, my hits. I know this, no back of my hand." So the same thing that we do, like just like any musician, we work our jokes for like years and years and years, and then
Mhm.
we release them. And so the best we can get at a next show is like someone calling the tagline out. Like certain things that work really well. Like for me, it was a Z Snap. That the Z Snap has been a constant from the beginning of my set days to now. People are like encore of that, but everything else they want new because we saw
Mm-mm.
what you did now, and we want to know more about you than before. So the onus is on you to like keep exploring. And thankfully for me, I feel like my life has been enough, colorful to have like certain ups and downs, like peaks and valleys in my life, which I make a note of, so to say, like this is going to translate well in a set. And hence, like now I live in an SRA building, which is just like the worst kind of building to live in. In Mumbai, like they basically they give slum people a building, but they forgot to take the slum out of the people. So they're still living in a slum but in a building. So that's like I found myself here, and I'm like now if I crib and cry about this, my life is not going to go anywhere. But if I translate this into jokes, I can laugh at this misery and then move on. So for me, it's an ongoing process where like my comedy will evolve with me, and I know that for a fact that because I'm good at this, I can keep writing better and better every year. You know.
Mm-mm-mm. All right, I see. Like, how do you go
For
about it?
me, I feel like anybody's imagination, like human imagination. Oh my God, you cannot do that while I give a serious answer. Thank you. See, the cat knows how to take a cue. Okay, so yeah, I know. No, I feel like human imagination in general, especially if you have a creative mind, is so expansive because I know so many creative people who are just inching to get these ideas out of their heads. Like right now, I'm sitting on ideas for like 3 or 4 different projects at the same time, and like kind of writing on 3 or 4 different things at the same time. So I feel like if you really want to do it, you will, because I feel like we a little bit creators. I won't say for anyone else, but at least for me, I can be lazy about it. It's easier for me to sit in front of a laptop and say I have block. That's not true. I don't have block. I just don't feel like doing it today. So I feel like the question you are asking might be relevant for me to answer at maybe like a taper end of a decade into comedy, after all of these projects that I want to do, right? All of these like ideas that I have of like this sketch and this story and this web series and this everything. Like maybe after 10 years, after like 4 shows or like 7 hours of comedy, or like, you know what I mean? It's just such a, it might be a more relevant question then, because right now I prefaced it by saying that imagination is so expansive because I feel like I have enough on my plate. There is ideas. If I want to sell, there is ideas. If I want to write, there is ideas. So I feel like the approach for creativity for me is more intrinsic. It's about discipline more than it is about running out of ideas. Because that seems to be the conversation around creativity. Is that, oh, like, what do you burn this term of burnt out, right? I am nowhere near, dude. Like, I have 15 years to go before I will burn out. You know what I mean? So I just feel like for me, it's a more of a discipline thing of like, sit in front of the stupid laptop, Aayushi, finish this, get this idea out of your head before it goes away. So that's how I would, like, it's discipline for me. So yeah.
So I assume, from your answer, say you run out of like in 15 years or something. By the time you will be prepared for another stronger, much better versions of it, right? I take the
I
answer
don't.
that way.
Okay, I don't. No, no. I don't mean. Just that. But in 15 years, hopefully, after all of this content, I'm loaded. So I don't need to worry about if I'm creative anymore.
That's
I
what
just
I'm
want to be
saying.
like, yeah, I made this cool thing, and I will see you later. I've done my job. Okay, bye. Chilling on this beach now.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah.
reaching my right to Ayushi's already. I'm like, in 15 years, she's making it, and I'm going to be on that right.
No, which is why I comfortably use 10, 15 years, because we know, Navin, that comedy takes so much fucking time.
Yeah.
It takes so much time to get good. So yeah.
But also, like, adding on to that, like, I would say there's also a certain level of comfort which I found 2 years ago in comedy. Which, like, for the first 3 years, I was trying to impress people. I was trying really hard to, like, like, sell myself as a brand or whatever. Like that. That's the whole.
Yeah.
You see comedy from an outside perspective. You come into it, so you see, like, there's a whole gamut of ways you can figure out your place in the scene. But for me,
Yeah.
I was all about, like, okay, how do I prove myself to this guy or that guy, or this producer, that producer. But then, like, this calm came over me when I did, like, this whole intrinsic, look deeper, which I had meditating and all of that, which helped me in the long run, because now I can, like, just be on stage and, like, just talk for hours without feeling like, oh, there's a joke coming, wait for the joke types. So now I'm inching to go back on stage, like, now more so than ever, because we haven't been on live stage. But the fact that now to go back and get those crowd, like, yeah, every word of mine is like, they're listening to everything I'm saying, and they're hooked onto my story, and they really care about that part. That's where I know that I have to myself keep giving them better. So just like it's comfort level for me as well.
No, and the thing is, because Navin is my senior in this industry, right? Like, he has put in more work, he has done more comedy than I have. So I feel like, you know what? I don't need to be nice to you. You want to switch up or what? We will. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be professional in this stupid, like, whatever, Navin Noronha. Like, this is why I'm never nice to this boy. Just so you know, anybody watching, please say mean things to him on his. Oh, fuck off. Anyway, my point being, because he is my senior, like, I'm still in the place of, like, I still feel uncomfortable. I have not found by any means this thing. I'm still writing to impress people, and when I say impress people, it's not just audiences. Like, when you are performing, if there is a comic that you respect who is, like, maybe well known or, like, senior to you, your first thought is you don't care how the joke did. You immediately instinctively look up to see if they laughed. And it's so, like, I'm still there. So I feel like, and I was just about, this is my 4th year in comedy, and I was just about finding nice, like, pacing. And then Corona was like, nah, not this year. Baby dolls, not right now. So, yeah, that's what
like, there is this, like, okay, this joke worked in my mind, but it's not working in real, or something like that.
So you mean all jokes, Santhil? All jokes, you mean?
Yeah.
All process. That's how it is.
This was a question.
No, Santhil, that's perfect. That's what it is like. Because something is funny in your head, then you say it and everyone stares at you. And then you're like, wait, why did I think this was funny? And then you go back and then you write it again. And then you, like, do it again. And so you've just described comedic process. Welcome.
Yeah. So it's not like, you're not always selling the thought that you find funny, but you're selling it as a character who finds that thought funny. So if they're on board,
yes.
Like, I have this juvenile joke I've written right now, which, like, I don't know, like, who will find funny, but I love it. The joke is, I'll tell you now, because I don't even think this joke has value in the long run. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, especially like go ahead.
I like the movie Transformers a lot. Okay, like the one that they made with Michael Bay, and I always used to imagine, what if Transformers are real? And I realized that maybe they are real, and Indian truck drivers captured them first. Because then you see them on the highway going tannin, and I'm like, there goes Optimus Prime to save the day. Okay. Now this joke, if you have to sum it up, this is me as a person in one line. Okay, this joke is how I am as a human. All the queer stuff and all, it's like very angsty stuff that I obviously live and, like, talk about. But if I had to, like, get down to the brass tacks of it all, this is the kind of shit I want to talk about, which I know will not work everywhere. So I have to, like, adapt and all of that. So that's how comedy works. It's like, this joke, out of 10 mics, it'll work at, like, 7 of them. 3 times it'll, like, boom me down because of this joke. So that's how it goes, So that's how you play your
I would just like to add at this point, comedians in their minds have, like, a ton of these jokes, like this category of joke, which is like, I think this is so dumb and I cannot wait to be famous enough to do it. Like, that's the thought process in your mind, is that you're just basically essentially saying, I cannot wait to build an audience enough so that I can talk about all of this dumb shit in my mind and get it out of my system. So yeah.
So going forward, this thing, like, when you talk about making these jokes, like, working through, when you talk about, this is coming from a very personal experience from my side, because, like, I personally wouldn't get on watching a stand-up comedy. Like, a couple of my colleagues have taken me or something. I know by, like, I could relate to Navin's sketch or your sketch, like, because like there is some connection to it. But why I couldn't go to other stand-up comedians, because like most of the times I fail to get the references. Okay, most of the time it's like very Bollywood thing, like for an example, I would say, like recently someone said, like Rashode mein Konta, like the one thing which was running in. For me, it was like what is first Rashode? Like okay, it means kitchen. For
Yeah.
me, it was like Hindi. It was Raso is kitchen to me, and like okay, it took next day for me to get an okay. This is the same thing, a television thing, which like a one person years before washed that laptop and hung
Yeah,
it for
yeah.
drying. It's the same teleserial, but it come up with something new and something kitcheny and something like. So it took me.
Senthil, I have to stop you. What you are trying to do is ask us to explain meme culture, and friend, there are not enough hours in the day. All right. So like
It's
these
not meme
memes.
culture. Like I'm just saying, like there are many other stuff, like in stand up, like they use queues and like or Bollywood references, which I
Yeah.
totally get lost. Okay, I have to go back, search, and then laugh, which is like a deliberate
Yeah.
kind of play. So
Right.
how do you
I
like
call them,
construct?
yeah,
Yeah.
I call them LCDs, which is lowest
Mm.
common denominator.
Yeah,
Just
Okay.
like
that's
appealing to the most generic
true.
crowd. They're like, yeah, Rasode
Yeah.
mein they laugh. Also
Mhm.
like in India, we have the whole North India, South India bias. Like you're
Mm.
speaking from a
Yeah.
perspective of a person who lives in Bangalore, has grown up in Chennai. So you have these cultures imbibed in you, which will
Mm.
then like if someone from South India hits references that you might know, like a Nagarjuna joke, which I might not understand being from Mumbai or from North India. So they, accordingly, like my travels have taught me that like you have to adapt definitely. Like
Yes.
even
Mm.
going from India to Australia, I have to adapt my joke. I have this joke where I'm like I'm into chubby guys. So like while everybody likes Ranbir Kapoor, I like Rishi Kapoor, but I can't
Mm.
say that in Australia. So like I have to be like while everybody likes John Leguizamo, I like John Goodman. Like that's how I have to like fucking work around that
Mm.
reference. So with regards to references, it's obviously going to be very geography based. Like even now, if a comic from Mumbai goes to New York, he's going to fucking struggle a lot because we don't know their culture at all. So that's going to happen, obviously.
Mm.
But it's the comics again who have to adapt. They have to be like, you have to go half an hour before and ask people, what is this location in your society called? Like, like if I go to Hyderabad, for example, and if I have to talk about my hometown where I grew up, my hometown in Mumbai is a suburb of Mumbai, which is not a fancy place. So I'll go to every city and ask them what is that equivalent. Like in Bangalore is Whitefield. Whitefield is very far away and no one likes to go there. So I'll use
Mm.
that reference in Bangalore as compared to Bhayandar in Mumbai. So every time you go, you have to like work a little bit to like accommodate everybody's psyches.
Mm. Mm.
The I would just like to add to what Naveen said. It is 100% the responsibility of the comedian to adapt and to kind of make sure that they are taking into account their audience's references. Having said this, I also think like there is too much, Senthil. The world is too big. There's not a single comedian in India who is going to accurately represent or give references to everyone. So I would like, I know it's a cop out answer, Senthil, but like when they are doing Bollywood references or when they are doing they are just trying to cater to what they think is the broadest possible demographic. There are two types of jokes. Okay, Senthil. There is a we joke and an I joke. Okay, we jokes are all of the relatability stuff. It's all of the, hey, remember when your mom used to make this and used to come after school and all of that nostalgia stuff, everything that's a we joke. Naveen's headboard joke, for example, the Dubai thing, that's an I joke. That's his personal experience. So it's like, I always think of it like a cone. Okay, jokes are always, it's either end of the cone. You're either going to go like this and then go right into one specific thing, or you're going to go from I experience. And so now probably I've never been to Dubai. I've never had sex with another girl in Dubai and broken the headboard. But I have been in questionable situations where I've offended sanskari, what do you call it? Like
Values.
mannerisms because of my values because of my behavior. So like it's a cone. like, so it doesn't mean, even if you don't understand one single or two references in a long set, there is still something for you to kind of, if that's not happening, then it's the comedian's fault, because it's just, references are the base of all comedy. It's how we relate to each other, right? If I have to tell you, oh my god, you have to try this new thing, my next sentence almost is always going to be, it's like this but this. That's how we talk, that's how we communicate as people. So I feel like, while references should be adjusted and changed and everything, the comedian at the end of the day is doing what they think is right. Now, are you allowed to sit and judge them for it? Yes you are.
Yeah.
But that
And they
doesn't
do a
kind
panel
of
around it. Yeah.
Exactly. Are you allowed to do that? Yes, you are. We will cuss out Punjabi comics anytime you want. But my point is, everyone is just trying to cater to, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if we are not doing Bollywood jokes, I mean, there is comedy for some people, there is comedy for everyone. There's just a lot of different types, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, Senthil, you've done well. You found us. No, it's great. It's fine.
Yeah. I think like what you're saying also makes sense a lot, Chantal, because you said like something that has to like appeal to everybody is like something that you live, and then like you can share that on a human level. Which again, like Aayushi clearly pointed out, is like something that relates. So taking that thing, but that's something that you have personally witnessed, but making it such a palatable thing that everybody is on the same wavelength as you. That's what the comics job is. That's why we go through like even comics from 80s in America or UK or Australia. We still go back and find relevance in there because they spoke a language that was beyond just like lines. That's what comedy's beauty is in general. Is that years later, like I know for a fact that what I've left on YouTube now is going to make more poignancy like much later now, because we haven't had queer comedians. We haven't had that culture. We haven't had that topic talked about at all. That's why I didn't like this whole epidemic of like rickshaw, Uber, or sex. Like that's the whole epidemic of like YouTube videos, that to get the SEO results, people have to title them like these 3 keywords. And then like I was thinking about that myself, like how do I title my name of my video? And I'm like, disappointing my parents sits very well for me, because that's what I've done. The whole story is about how I've let them down in life and how I feel about it. And I know that everybody will have that feeling years from now coming out. It is going to be the same thing for many kids from here on. So I think in the broader realm of like humanity, we have to stretch it out and appeal to everybody's senses, and not just make it like ki aaj yaar maine maje kiye. And that's how.
In the broader realm of humanity, my videos are dick jokes. Please leave them alone. Like that's all I will say. Just let it go. I have yet to make my statement to the world that will make poignancy in 40 years. I have not done that. I have dick jokes. But if you're looking for dick jokes, right? Now, oh, by the way, I have tea about the period song, which I will tell you after this is over. But anyway, my point being, Senthil, Navin is right. Is because I'm also a little scared of Navin, so I always just end all of my. Because Navin and I inevitably end up together on these, because there's not a lot of us, okay? There's like the 2 of us that know each other. I'm sure there are more, but we don't know them personally. Point being, this is it. This is the. Yeah, we are. Oh my god, yeah, we're doing a crow open mic. I'm very excited about that. But point is, Navin is right. Continue.
Someone like do a Z snap and say like you don't mess with it. All right. So coming like when you talk about like the entire comic circle, like there are like many other peers with you, like and other colleagues who you work with. When we talk about comedy, and it's very a very light thing. I mean, light thing where like people come and get entertained and go off, and like here, like I have seen major chunk number of people who make um, casual sexism or like real time attack, like misogynistic joke or transphobia, queerphobia, or like how like have you or like any of like you could address this um, problem within the comic circle, or like to put it another question along with it, like how is the comedy scene stand when we talk about inclusion or diversity within the comedy circle, which is kind of tough, but yeah, like as a question I'm asking.
Central is just like, will you please solve the universe's problems right now on this little talk we're having? That's a lot of questions, Central. You didn't ask one question.
Yeah,
That is a lot
yeah,
of,
I did. I
and
did. I did.
I'm going to let Naveen go after me because by cop out by saying, luckily for me, like being female comic trumps being queer comic for me because in the heterosexual misogynistic mind, two women making out is hot. So I feel like they think it's for their pleasure, so I don't get shit for it. I will. This is a cop out answer of me saying because I'm sure Naveen has faced a lot worse, but I feel like all of my the hate or the trolling or like whatever I get is more for female comic rather than queer comic. So like we have like a few these things. I don't think they've realized I'm queer yet. So let's wait. Let's not tell them right now. Let's just wait it out. You know what I mean? Let's just wait it out. But yeah, now Naveen, now you answer this like a human being. Now that I've said yeah.
Shit.
Oh shit, indeed. Yes,
And then you
exactly.
wonder why there's biphobia, don't we? So, so again, like as Central, like you asked way too many like isms to like go back and solve right now in the
Exactly.
comedy scene. Like why we haven't even solved the misogyny or sexism to even get
Okay,
to the
I'll
point
just
of
like
transphobia.
it's not like solving. It's impossible to solve. And just like
Yeah, yeah.
addressed it or like asked it or you like spoke about it somewhere.
Addressing it is easy. You look at that person and go, "You're an idiot." There, I've addressed it. You're
Yeah, yeah.
misogynistic.
So I'll
You're
tell you,
dumb.
okay,
It's done.
Yeah.
it's like okay, so there's this guy called Nitin Gupta. He's a big deal in Delhi. He's Nitin Rivaldo Gupta. He puts a Rivaldo in the middle,
Why are you
and he's
saying
very
names?
nationalistic. Because I'll tell you what happened. Like I'll tell you the joke that he said that
Okay.
hurt me, and he's been called out since then by the comics for his right wing, opinions. And I'm
Okay.
fairly centrist left, so I can be honest about what my perspective is.
All right.
Because we live in a
Okay.
country where people will take names to like demean everybody, but here's something someone said on stage at Canvas Laugh Club that really triggered me beyond extent. Like he had a joke
Okay.
about cricket, and he had a joke about like while a bowler is bowling, the batsman hit a straight drive which hurt the bowler in the testicles. So the joke was कि तेरे चौके के चक्कर में बंदा चक्का बन जाएगा. Okay, that was the whole
Okay.
joke. Like in
Yeah.
the realm of like you try to hit a four, this guy will become a
Right.
sixer, which is a common slang used to demean gay people. And I just
Yeah.
sat there. I'm 2 years into comedy, sitting at Canvas at an open mic, just gawking in horror as to what
Yeah.
happened. As to like how this was allowed to be said at a venue like this, especially when I, as a queer comic, went and performed before him. So there's no accountability first of all, because when I spoke to him, he's like, "Yeah, joke hai yaar, bura mat mane," or whatever. Okay, and then like he kept doing this joke for years, and then there are other multiple jokes that were like in the same vein. So now you can't ask him to entirely change the conditioning where he comes from. He comes from a very patriarchal North Indian part of the society where he thinks that JNU kids are, drug addicts. He thinks that Deepika Padukone and Kangana Ranaut are like right or whatever. So like there are all these like pockets of thoughts that people come from. Like you can butt heads with them in the green room, but I don't know how much you can control what they say on the stage, because then they're their own entity, and then that becomes a whole different. You can call them out, like I sure did. I don't fucking care, because I'm like that person. I'm like, you can't say this to a room full of people. What if there's a trans kid over there in that room? How would that kid feel? Think about it for a second, man. You have your own kids. He's a kid, got a kid now. So I feel like really angry about these things because it's a lived experience again, and you don't want that to be the brand of comedy that you support, in the long run.
All right.
Also, for anybody watching who wants to know, Naveen is the kindest gangster you'll ever meet. Like he is very like he's so mean. He's so mean. Oh my god, if you know him, he will destroy your soul. But like God forbid someone tries to do something like sketchy. Naveen is like he's like, oh, here's my gangster side, and then it kind of like unleashes on them. So yeah, I think that's very funny. But yes,
Yeah, I'm the gay
he is
Robin
right.
Hood. I take time from
Yes.
the state comics and give it to the other people. That's what I do.
Give it to the other. Yes, I love it. Love it.
So, like, I'll just like put it forth, like, when we talk, like, we just spoke about comics and their deliverance and politics. Like, as far as I know, Naveen and yourself have been like little vocal about the politics. And so, uh, how do you control the crowd when you speak about politics? Like, it comes from a various angle. Like, I have seen Naveen's show, like, in a certain years of gap, and like,
I
first.
get it. I get it,
Yes.
Senthil. I get it. Okay? I understand. I get it. That's just no need for like
Multiple
again and
times.
again.
Yeah.
It's just I get it. I heard you the first two times you said it. I'm just
Wait,
saying
wait, wait,
I get
wait.
it. I get it.
So, like, I'll just split the question. Like, so you get love from it. Okay. So now, like, I could see, like, there was scattered things, like, the evolution of, like, then he had total control on the crowd, and there was some IAS officer in the crowd, and he made fun of them as well. I was like, oh shit, okay, really happening. Like, if there is an IAS officer, and like, I'll be like, oh, what am I going to do, like, or something like that. And yours, like, I have seen online majorly your performance or something. You also had, like, okay, if I drop this, people are going to love. You were sure, like, I could see that. So how do you gain that, and how can you be vocal about the politics, yet make, like, have a control on the crowd overall? So that's my question. There's like two sides of this question.
For me, I feel, Naveen, you're on mute. By the way, we can't hear
Yeah.
you.
I know there are kids outside my building who are losing their shit right now.
I will
Oh,
answer
My wife is
first.
trying to.
Don't
yeah.
worry. I will answer first. I feel like it's a okay. So my journey of being like vocal about the things I believe in has been a very like it's about it's very up and down because I have participated myself in cancel culture and I have participated myself because I am vocal as a feminist online. And
Mhm.
I feel like I have a very bittersweet relationship with it now. Since I learned that the things that we stand for are not always black and white, since having that experience of kind of participating in cancel culture, but then realizing that that wasn't required in the first place, or like being so staunch. Because when you go online, right, Senthil, when you go online as a creator or as anybody and make content like that, for the rest of time, they are going to associate you with it because I remember we had made a video about feminism, about AIB's use of feminism in that videos. And suddenly the following year, I was doing these feminist conferences and I was doing these panels and talks like that. And then everything changed. You know what I mean? Like everything, like the skies opened up. So my point being, like, I feel like it's so difficult to maintain a semblance of sanity while also learning that even when you're standing up for something you believe in,
Mhm.
which is like bigger rights that are bigger than you, rights that are for other people, you will still be wrong. And so you have to kind of like eat your own words and kind of go like, damn it. So I feel like very it's a tightrope thing. It's a tightrope situation where you go like, do I, and compared to other comedians, Naveen included, I'm a fattu. Like I have no need, like, we talk about this a lot. There are comedians who are like, I want to make a difference, my words mean something, I'm going to say this important thing and make it, and I'm like, hey, you know what, it'd be cool to like do an auditorium show and make some cash. Like I feel like this is so fun. So I feel like my priorities are, I know I joke about it, but like for me it's a tightrope thing, and if you fail at this tightrope balance, right, you are screwed. So I do it very carefully now. I do it very slowly, like cat, like Naveen's cat, like very slow. It's a very like, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, Navi. So it's to you.
No, I think like it's a I just like feel like performing only will do this for you. Like as you said, that IS officer, like I wouldn't have done that 4 years ago in my comedy career. I would have shacked my pants. I would have said, yes, IS officer, welcome to the show, have fun. And then watched over my back every 2 minutes to see how he's reacting to my jokes because I would be scared. And
Mhm.
here, like you saw my show. I go
Yeah.
all in on religion. I tear the Christian faith a new hole, essentially.
Mm.
I question a lot of beliefs. I question a lot of patriarchal, even ancestrally fucked up things that have happened in our society. I open up a lot of these Pandora's boxes, and uh, and hence I feel like over time I've cultivated my audience who vibe with me. It's a very niche species of like queer or allies, stoners, hippie, atheists, Freedom 50, True Love believers, like RuPaul's Drag Race. Like I have like cultivated this whole like I think a fanship, so to say, like who have been
Yeah.
nice to me, and hence I know that there is an entire tribe like this beyond this also. And then like I'm not here to like I'm not like Jesus trying to convert people who are not believers. I'm here to like
Yeah.
take the people who like my work and then go on with me. I'm not here to change people's perspectives because again, as I said, with that same guy like within it's like years of conditioning which you can't fight. What you can do is present your case, make fun of it, have a good laugh. Eventually, we are all humans. Like even you saw that day with the IS officer Senthil, there was a father IS officer and daughter IS officer. So we have two different generations, and she was much cooler about it. She was much hipper about it, and the father in the hindsight was like, oh fuck, everybody's laughing and enjoying. I can't be a dick right now. I have to also enjoy this. So and then like he waited after the show and spoke to me also. He was like very nice. You have very good punctuation and diction. I'm like that's what inspiring.
Love it. I love that that's his
Punctuate.
takeaway.
Exactly. So
How
there's a level of cuteness in that as well. You know,
No,
I
but
would
what he
personally
said
never ask
is
my mom and dad to come to my show.
what he said is so perfect because it's what he said was you can't change people's perspective, but you can show them a new one. So I feel like I think that's our job, right? Is that's what we do. We'll go on stage, say something just about different enough that kind of like someone sits up and takes notice and goes like, wait, what? What are you saying? You like girls? Why? Like it's a very like suddenly it's a shock to their brain. And then you can just kind of like do that a little and then quickly retreat and go into your jokes again. So it's a very it's yeah, tightrope answer, tightrope. Anyway, continue.
yeah. So getting going along, like let's talk about like various things like your mental health as well. Like you have different professions, day in working and day out. So you perform on you perform on weekends where you have to prepare. It's just not like you just take mic and perform and drop it and leave or something like that. There's certain amount of preparations, and you go on off day and work, and there is no one entertaining you off the thing. So how do you balance it out? Like how do you take care of yourself and your mental health, and you don't get the rest time to take care of yourself as well when it's the off day? You might be traveling out uh, for different places. So how do you balance everything?
Senthil, I will call you when I figured it out. Okay? We'll do a nice call and we can evaluate how I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright. So, I mean, I don't know, Navin. Do you think you've like mastered your own the way you feel about right? Because it's such a
No.
process. Like it's such a 1 week
Yeah.
you'll feel good, and then 1 week like Naveen just said that he's starting to feel comfortable on stage and he can now have control over the room. Like so it's so different because different at different points in time you'll feel differently. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of kind of adjusting your brain to the fact that it's not going to adjust.
But I
That
will
was it
say
for
this
me. Is
is
that
like,
yeah,
yeah, comedy is catharsis though. Like in many ways, like getting that like
exactly.
public affirmation for even that short period of time that really moves your ego. And
Yes.
again, like comics are essentially broken people. Like in the mainstream, at least, like what they show what comedians like coming from broken families or broken mental health or broken psyches or like the several things that like have like affected the reason that we took up a mic and start blabbering about stuff nobody really cares about. So like that takes
Yeah.
a lot of balls first of all, but that ultimate ego boost is the applause break or like hey, we connected with you on that joke, and then like you take that with you and make with it what you want to for that one night. And again, it's the same grind. You wake up the next morning feeling same anxiety, feeling same like nothingness, and then you have to like, okay, how do I prove myself today? So like it's a build up to that every time. And then that's why I recommend natural therapy. I'm like, if you can afford, go for actual therapy. don't rely on
It's
comedy.
just,
Follow, like,
no, but like it doesn't. The point being, it doesn't settle. Is what I'm trying to say. Like you never find a place where you go like, ab sab theek hai. Now everything is fine. Now everything is perfect. Now I know how to do this, 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 and this. We will do shows here, 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 and here at this time. Like it's never like that. It's a forever changing landscape. Like just take this year for instance. Navin and I both, we were set to appear in an entire festival. We had like shows lined up all the way through June, July. Like point is take this year. That's what comedy is like. It's just you don't know when the sky, like when everything is going to open on your head, and it's just I feel like another thing about what like catharsis. It is, dude. I cannot tell you how it feels that when a joke hits and you like hear it, everything in the world, all of your pain, everything is okay for just a minute. For that 15-second, like when they're laughing, everything is fine. And so you just kind of keep craving which is why you push yourself to do it again. So you kind of like settle again and you're like, okay, fine, we'll do it again and again and again and again. So I guess that's how we go. I don't know. Maybe.
But you guys,
Yeah, I'll tell you one more last thing is like to add to it.
you go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, I performed in audies as well as in smaller rooms, like in like intimate cafes, and like I always go for intimate. That's where I really like thrive, because then I have them on this journey. With a bigger audience, like okay, you have rehearsed everything, because that's how we go to audio shows in general. It's like we have 8 minutes. Every line is perfected, every joke is planned, so you know exactly how to hit the pauses, and they'll laugh, and then you move on with the joke. Because then there's like, okay, I have a sense of responsibility to keep 2,000 people or 500 people happy. That's a big fucking pressure, so you have to keep it tight.
Yeah.
But in an intimate space, you can fuck around as much as you want. You can go in and out of narratives. You can open it up, take a person's case. That's the way of putting it. But like, have a conversation with them rather. Don't take that case.
Can't help it. He can't help it.
I can't. I'm just like, I'm a mean, nasty person, and that's why nobody found me rather.
Starting I will figure it out. You both have answered it, by the way, on the scroll.
No, we haven't.
No, it doesn't.
I'm sure we are.
Yeah, Sendil, it shows you exactly. Sendil, that's what also, by the way, that's what performance is. Yeah. Okay. A comedian will go on stage and with enough authority say something like, "Aaj se ye." Yeah, this is going to be like this from now on. I've decided now. And you see the comedian off stage is like the shallow, hollow person who is in pain. And you're like, who you're telling all of this to? Who you're telling so confidently to like live their life like this? And you meet them in real life and everything is just like shambles. So that's what it is. Comedy is just lies.
My favorite example is Neetu Bardwaj. She's a comic from Mumbai. Like she's very like timid, like has her own like energy and aura, very chill, very vibey.
Yeah.
But then she goes on stage and becomes like this whole character which she's created herself, and she's deadpan.
Yeah.
She's hilarious and she owns the room, So like that's also a possibility. Like I'm as much as myself on stage, but you can also do a character which finds that outlet to deal with that personality.
Yeah, it depends on who you've decided to be on stage, right?
Okay.
Like the reason that Neetu does it so well is because the most difficult thing to do, I feel like, as a comedian is to stand on stage in your own confidence and say nothing. Silence will kill a comedian. Like it kills you. It attacks your soul when like you've said something and there's just nothing. There's like you can hear pin drops and you're like, oh my god, I'm going to die today. So it's such the fact that Neetu, like, I don't know if Neetu cares, doesn't care. My point is her on-stage persona. Neetu will stand on that stage, dude. She will just stand there and she'll like go on her back foot and just stand there and be like, okay. And then nothing. She won't say anything. She'll wait for the audience to laugh. She'll wait for it. Do you know how hard that is to do? Like to just go like, okay, I am in control. It's a tough job, dude. I don't know. Why are we doing this again? Why are we doing something? What's happening?
I asked the question.
Go ahead. Like, it's like...
So like, okay, there are questions coming. So like,
also, I'm sorry. Before you ask a question, there is one woman, Navin, Carla, who said something wonderful to the both of us twice. She said, we saw the comment. I didn't want to be like an asshole and not address it. Like a wonderful woman said, love from Italy. Yes, Karina. Yes. Sorry, I thought it was Carla. I apologize. But yes, thank you so much. How sweet. Twice she
Buonasera.
called. And I was like, hey, take it. Yes, Buonasera. Indeed. Yes, continue. Yes, sorry.
All right. So coming to we have spoke my final question, who would like, how do you perceive the future of Indian comedy from your individual perception? Okay, I get it. Go ahead and answer.
It's too much. It's too much. See, first of all, regional comedy is killing it. Okay, and that's a good thing, right? Because it's such a it's the best kind of ownership of a culture. It's like we don't care. We're no longer conforming to your ideas of what stand up is. You know what I mean? Like, because stand up primarily throughout the world has been in English, and historically speaking, and now the fact that it's being
Yeah.
adapted to like comedians using their mother tongues to do comedy is great. Okay. Having said that, I'm trash at Gujarati. We have a problem. All right. Having said that, future of Indian comedy is fine. Senthil, you ask about my future. I don't know. Okay. Because English is the language I'm thinking in. My Gujarati is trash, so we don't know. We'll figure it out. Is the
Okay.
point? Is where Indian comedy is going.
Maybe very very maybe I put the question whether it'll be, if I'm asking in the future in a queer perspective, whether it'll become inclusive or it'll might become worse.
Senthil,
Yeah,
listen to me. What you did today? What you did today?
acid.
In the day. What did you do today?
Did you
Like in the day.
Like
Yeah,
as
like did
it was,
you like what
I
did you like
prepared
my
that the usual day it was. Yeah.
exactly. So you didn't do queer things today, no? Like did you do a queer thing? Like
No,
my
no.
point is
You
that's
went
the
on
point I'm trying
Haider.
to make.
You went on Haider.
You there are no the point I'm trying to like I feel like a lot of the focus is always on like how will we show, because how will we show queer narratives. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend to like uh, punch in Navin's views with this. I'm just saying purely for me. I just feel like the concern is always how will we show queer narratives, and I feel like for me it's like the fact that you exist in this society, in this timeline, in this is an act of rebellion. I know it's a little like self-congratulatory to say that, but like I have a father who supports the BJP. I am queer, all right, in his house. It's hilarious. Mwah! Killing it in life. So I feel like it's such a like instead of focusing on how many ways we are different, if we can just literally accurately show what queer Indians actually look like. You wake up this morning, the only difference in our day was possibly like he made the joke, was maybe I have Bumble and you have Grinder. Literally, you pooped, you checked internet, like all of the. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So I feel like as long as you authentically represent your own story, like I feel like as long as I make jokes about what I think is hilarious and why it's so much better to go out with a woman than it is to go out with a man. Like I feel like if I honestly just tell people like, oh shit, you know what, sab theek ho jayega. It's going to be fine. Don't worry. The future of Indian comedy is safe. And now to the serious, thoughtful answer that Naveen will give.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
have a serious answer. Actually, I have something very juvenile. It's like I used to work. Like once I moved out of my mom's house and I had my own apartment, I used to go out to work and write for somebody else and perform comedy in the evenings and come home late at night. And I'm like, why am I paying so much rent in Mumbai if I can't afford to enjoy the house? And since the last few months, that's all I've done. I've just enjoyed every corner of my house and not gone outside. And as I think the future is digital, man. I just think that everybody's gonna get so comfortable. Like, have you seen the movie Wally? Like in that future where everybody's so used to sitting on a chair and being driven around. That's going to be the future of comedy, where you get private entertainment. Prime will buy your soul once you're born. They'll be like, "Iske andar comedy
Yes!
and will water that
Yes!
plant, and that plant will become a comic, and they'll put it on
Fucking
Prime."
oh
And
my god, Naveen, that's a
yeah.
great answer. Naveen, that's a
No,
great
the reason
answer.
I'm saying this also is because we are doing the Square Open Mic on 9th October. And we used to do this in Mumbai where we are both, like Jia was the organizer and I am the host. So we would be able to organize it in Mumbai because of our limited resources. And if we had a confirmation at any point that there are more comics who are willing to do this mic outside of Mumbai, we would have traveled. But then Corona happened, we all got stuck. But now the people who are registering are coming from all across the country right now. So that is circumvented that whole need to be in a place to perform at a mic that is helping your voice to be amplified. So I feel like making it digital and making it almost compulsory for the entire humankind to adapt to this way of performing or talking to each other, in many ways, I'm counting my blessings in that regard. I'm like, it's a good thing. It's connecting people beyond what we could connect on on a stage level before this. You know what I'm saying? So now digitally we can reach out to as many people as we can.
I also want to add at this point, like now that comedy is now no longer like this hot new thing. Okay, clearly. Now we've had kind of a little time to settle in it and like all the videos that have gone viral and stuff like that. But even in this experience, we've seen so much variety. Like there are so many different types of people, and like Abhishek doesn't sound like Kamra, and Urush doesn't sound like Aishwarya, and Sejal sounds different, and Jia sounds different, and you know what I mean? Like finally, people are realizing how much of a viewpoint someone can give you. So I feel like as long as that keeps happening, and just like Naveen said, just like more queer voices will come in and kind of give them a path to where to go. So I feel like then it's fine, right? Then it's great.
Yeah. All right. So
Major
my
part
question
of comedy is also the green room. I think like I always speak about the green room dynamics is because like it's such again becomes a very boys club cisgendered. If there are 5 boys, they'll like be in their own self. They won't like include a female person who's in the room or a queer person who's in the room. So that also becomes like an added factor. Like you're not just going to perform comedy. Also like you want the admiration of your peers. You want to be included in the conversation. But because they have decided okay, there's no overlapping thing unless they want to ask some bizarre questions as to like like I've gotten this from so many male comics. It's
Really?
like to gay. Yeah, they're like, you're not gay, no, you're not actually gay, right? You're just like pretending to be gay to get jokes and laughs, right? Like because of how I'm seemingly cisgendered looking, my own peers don't believe me I'm queer enough. I'm like should I suck you off right now on the stage to prove it? Like how does it what does
Yes.
it take for you
I'm
guys?
sorry to interrupt. Yes. Can I see that
Yes.
show? Can I see
My
that?
boyfriend is in the green room right now with me. He's there sitting. Like, you know him. Like you clearly see we have been boinking. Like what more do you need from this? So
What more
that
do you
level
need?
of disbelief we have to fight. So stupid.
Yeah.
Like as it is, like my manager Nana would always keep saying like Navin has to fight a glass ceiling, and I'm like now they want to see from the ceiling what's happening in my glass also. They're like, "Dikha mo kya ho raha hai life ke andar?" And I'm like now I'm going to make an OnlyFans only for you for the comics. So you can
Yes.
see how gay I am.
Yes.
It's annoying.
Yes.
Like people will believe it, but my own peers won't believe it.
So you can see how gay I am. I love that. That's a great sentence. This is what you do to see how gay I am. Great sentence. Love it.
Yeah.
So I'll just like fastly like run through a couple of questions from the audience side. I don't know what does it mean. Maybe Ayushi can tell that.
Aayushi Dari Gujarati sounded Abhi is just okay. Now I'm getting trolled by Naveen's boyfriend. I didn't know that this was going to be that kind of panel question. But what does being an apolitical comedian mean to you? I don't think any queer person can honestly say that they are like, because their existence is political. The fact that they're like breathing in society as a queer person is them going against the grain. So I think it's just a matter of choice of like how much you would say.
There are comics who can do it very, very nicely. Like, and then eventually they do end up becoming political because it affects us. Like everything that happens in the politics of the country boils down. Like Vipul Goyal is a great example. He was like the most relatable, like, mere wallet mein paisa itna zyada kyun hai? And like buys a bike so weird looking. Like he's that kind of comic. And then suddenly now he's also like, Modi ji kya maar rahe hai? Like he's also like, now where's the 15 lakhs? So there'll be obviously like levels to it. Atul Khatri also. Like, there's so many comics who are now talking about politics.
It runs the gamut. It runs the gamut. Yeah.
You can't run away from it. It's part of it.
All right. So the second final question would be this.
Have you ever altered subtlety along your beliefs? Okay. Are you ready for a story, friends? Are you ready? So like especially in the first year, I used to do a lot of jokes about how much I hate men. Okay, it was just like male bashing. It was just so much, and like it wasn't that the material was funny or anything. You know what I mean? If the material was funny, then like people would have let it go. But it's just the advice that I got was so like, oh my god, why you're a female comic? You're 5'9", you're fat. Don't do this. No one's gonna like you. Why? Just don't do this. And I got this piece of advice from a friend of mine, And he's like, can you act like a girl when you say it? And I was like, that's offensive. Can you act like a girl? And then I did it. Okay. Same jokes, same lines, same words, and it worked. And I have never been more angry at anything else in my life. And so now I've almost kind of, because I'm very loud. Yeah. I'm so loud. Oh my God. I'm so annoying. So I just feel like on stage, I now act like excuse me, you don't get to say yeah. Fuck you. Little bit. Yeah, it seems.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
No, you agreed with me after I said I'm loud and annoying. Okay.
Yeah, that only.
So shut up, asshole. Anyway, so like now I go on stage and I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm going to say some awful things about men, okay? Please be on my side. So that's how I've changed my,
I was agreeing with you because there's something like this unwarranted advice thing people give you a lot. Like, like I performed at Blue Frog my first year of comedy, and I was opening for Jiveshu Aluwalia, known predator. Also sometimes I think in the closet. But Jiveshu Aluwalia was doing all this ki aurte aisi, wo sab aisa. But then this group of producers called Indian Comedy Club, this bunch of moronic idiots. This guy told me outside the venue that don't talk about being gay. There are families over here at Blue Frog. I'm like, this place is called Blue Frog. Okay, there are jazz singers and drug addicts in this venue, and of course there'll be somebody who has a queer family, who has a queer kid. You're telling me that calling a woman's boobs extra large is okay, but me saying I'm gay is not okay. So I don't get it. Like it's just like and when you're young in comedy, you kind of like put a tail between your legs and be like, okay, I'm wrong. I'm stupid. Tell me more about what you want to say. This guy called Vinny.
that's true.
Okay. Another
I'm
message.
spelling the names, okay? I don't care.
You saw my song? I found it. One person. I found the one person who saw my song. I love it.
That is
Thank
me.
you.
I'm thinking of actually unlistening the Medai video because of the current climate in country.
All right. I guess we have come to the end of the session, and it went well.
Why are you surprised? Excuse me? Sanjay, you
That
said
was in real
so
time.
much.
He's like,
It's me.
Previous
I'm
shows.
talking about me. Like,
It's
I
like,
did it.
guys, I invited these couple of dum-dums and I guess it didn't suck. What? Like, I'm very offended by this. But like, whatever.
I was talking about me. All right. So, thank it's from QCC, and I thank you, Naveen and Ayushi. Thank you very much for coming along and sharing your journey, stories, and everything, and jokes as well. And we wish you all the best, and take care of yourself as well. Hopefully, after the
So
pandemic,
sweet.
we
Wait,
get
Don't
I
nobody steal my
so
jokes. Okay?
sweet. This is what? What are you saying, Naveen?
I said, don't nobody steal my jokes. You've been the one
Oh.
that I have to hear.
Oh, that's another thing. My jokes have never been stolen. So my friend said, that's how you know your shit. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks.
You have to hit a certain million views to get stolen. That's why.
Oh my,
all right.
what the fuck are you talking about?
Then it's okay. I'm thinking about me. I don't have a million.
Oh my god, you little shit! Oh my god.
All right, cool.
Anyway.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Thanks
you
until
very much, and take care of
a lot of
yourself.
fun this was.
The next question would come around. Thank you. Our next session is with at 8:30 with artist Nabi Haider about reforming arts. So we'll meet at 8:30. Thank you, and see you around.